Welcome, everyone. The first bill before us today is Intro 145A, which requires that animal service facilities install automatic sprinkler systems to protect animals from fires. The sponsor is Councilmember Corey Johnson. Animal service facilities include animal hospitals, kennels, vet clinics, and pet shops. Sadly, in recent years, there have been fires which have taken the lives of trapped animals. I know people all over the city feel deeply about animals and want a more humane society. This bill will help us to prevent future tragedies using every tool to protect animals and ensure that they are treated fairly and compassionately. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito and our Health Commissioner, Dr. Mary Bassett. And now I'd like you to hear from our Buildings Commissioner, Rick Chandler.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The Buildings Department is pleased to support this legislation that will require the installation of sprinkler systems in animal service facilities such as pet shops and veterinary clinics by December 31st, 2016. Exceptions are provided for facilities equipped with smoke alarms that provide 24-hour in-person supervision of animals, or facilities in operation before December 31, 2016 that are equipped with an automatic smoke detection system. Automatic fire sprinkler systems are a proven technology to keep life and property safe in the event of a fire. Requiring sprinklers in veterinary clinics and pet shops where animals are sheltered for a period of at least 24 hours will help keep these animals safe should a fire occur. I would like to thank Mayor de Blasio and Fire Commissioner Nigro and their staff for their work on this legislation. I would also like to thank Speaker Mark-Viverito, Housing and Buildings Committee Chair Williams, and Councilmember Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have one person today for public testimony, Michelle Villagomez of the ASPCA.
The ASPCA just wants to thank the mayor and the city council and everyone involved. We've been supportive of this bill for many, many years, and we're so happy to see the city take a step. Whenever there have been pet store fires, we all hear about the tragedies, and we also have to think about first responders in this situation. So we're very grateful, and we look forward to continuing to work with you on other positive animal welfare legislation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, we will now sign the bill.
I'll join. One on each side. Michelle, you can join us too.
Four.
You're so much clearer than John Paul.
I try to be. Although I made a mistake. One for Corey Johnson, so five. And keep that last one for Councilmember.
Now off. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now, intros 287A and 586A clarify requirements for price displays at gas stations. Sponsored by Councilmember Rafael Espinal and Councilmember Maria del Carmen Arroyo. Intro 287A requires gas with taxes. Intro 586A requires gas stations with different prices for cash and credit payments to display prices for each. Both bills would protect the city's consumers from price gouging at the pump. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, our Consumer Affairs Commissioner Julie Menon, of course, Councilmember Maria del Carmen Arroyo, and now I would like you to hear from Councilmember Rafael Espinal, Chair of the Committee on Consumer Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. It's not as sexy as the pet shop bill, but important nonetheless. I'm happy to join the mayor here today, and as he signs Intro 546A into law. This is a common sense piece of legislation I introduced in order to clarify and simplify an existing law that was burdensome to small businesses and ultimately hurting cash purchases for all types of payment methods on any sign, poster, or display where gas prices are advertised. In 2013, the council passed a law addressing cash versus credit pricing and intended to designate price points or require that road signs clearly display when the advertised price is discounted price available only for cash purchases. As a result of this law, many gas stations were left with no choice but to create signs that were the size of billboards. It is clear that the council's intent at the time was to protect consumers. However, in practice, the law was overly complicated, making it difficult for our DCA to regulate and for gas stations to comply. Today, we simplified this burdensome legislation by addressing these unintended consequences. I have always advocated for smart regulations, striking a balance between the interests of the business and the protection of the consumer, and today I believe we accomplished just that. This new regulation will allow for easy-to-read signs benefiting both the consumer and gas stations. It's a win-win for everyone involved, and I want to thank the mayor and my colleagues for supporting this bill. I'm also going to talk on the Royals bill, which is Intro 287. This would actually allow for New York City to finally catch up with the rest of the country. We will now be able to have LED signs at the gas stations, which I think we've seen every time we leave the city. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, again.
Thank you. All right, let's sign it, or sign them.
Five.
Or two combined, or just enough?
Two combined. Two combined.
Tomorrow.
Market compensation. You want the two to hold out?
Yeah.
Now all. Now for those of you who track the talented people who work here at City Hall, the inside joke on the pen for Reggie is today is his last day. Reggie, what's it been, 5 years? 5 long, good years of public service. We thank you. You've been a fantastic first deputy director for city legislative affairs, and you've done a lot to make this place work well. And we congratulate you. We hold you in such high esteem that you will have a lifetime supply of free pens available to you. We will miss you, and we wish you great luck ahead.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right, now, intros 682A, 700A, 757A, amend the Housing Maintenance Code to protect tenants from harassment. The sponsors are Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, Councilmember Jamani Williams, and Councilmember Daniel Garodnick. For too long, unscrupulous landlords in this city have pressured tenants in rent-stabilized units to take buyout offers. Cash was given in exchange for moving out, so landlords could raise the rents greatly. And the reality is, in many cases, there were very forceful and intimidating tactics used. Landlords would bang on the doors of tenants, calling them late at night, hire people known as quote-unquote tenant relocators, who are paid to convince tenants to leave. This was a very negative and unacceptable and unscrupulous activity. And we don't have any room in this city for tenant harassment. We're going to fight it with every tool we have. These new pieces of legislation will strengthen the city's hand in fighting tenant harassment and fighting unscrupulous landlords. We will not let abusive landlords intimidate tenants so they can make an extra buck. Intro 682A makes it illegal for an owner to intimidate or threaten a tenant over a buyout offer. Intro 700A makes it illegal for anyone to contact a tenant about a buyout offer without sharing critical information, such as the right to refuse an offer or the right to contact an attorney. Think about that for a moment. Landlord trying to force a tenant to make a decision without an attorney giving that tenant the kind of information they need to make the decision. And the bill prevents residents from being pressured into taking an offer without fully understanding their rights. Intro 757A makes it illegal for a landlord to make a buyout offer for 180 days after the tenant has made clear in writing that they're not interested in a buyout. We have to protect our tenants. We have to protect affordable housing. We particularly have to focus on the tenants in rent-stabilized units who are under so much pressure right now. Those units have been a lifeline for generations of New Yorkers, the affordable housing that has kept this city an economically diverse place. We must preserve our rent-stabilized units. These pieces of legislation will help us do it. It's a key part of our overall effort to preserve and protect and build affordable housing, is protecting the affordable housing we already have. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, our Housing Commissioner Vicky Bean, the Chair of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, Councilmember Jomani Williams. I want to thank Councilmember Dan Garodnick. And now I'd like you to hear again from Councilmember Rafael Espinal.
Well, I'm going to speak on a tenant relocator bill. It's actually a bill that passed through my committee, sponsored by Dan Garodnick. And I have to say, it's a very, very important piece of legislation. I represent Bushwick, where people are being pushed out of their homes every single day. These tenant relocators are harassing them on their way home, on their way to work. And the story I can tell is where this gentleman was living with his girlfriend, and even though he would go out to work and was able to deal with the harassment, his girlfriend would come home alone after work in the night hours, and there will always be a man waiting outside of their apartment asking them, take this buy offer, take this buy offer, and harassing her to the point where she made the decision that they have to move. So, it's important that we create some sort of regulation around this, and I want to thank the mayor and also the sponsor, Dan Garodnick, for all the work behind this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilmember. We will be formally signing these pieces of legislation tomorrow, so there won't be a signing right now. Let me just say a few words in Spanish. Hoy firmaré tres leyes. Una de ellas ayuda a proteger de incendios a los centros de servicios para animales. Las otras aclaran los requisitos para publicar los precios en las gasolineras. Mañana firmaré otras tres leyes para evitar que los caseros obliguen a los inquilinos en apartamentos de renta estabilizada a aceptar ofertas para mudarse. Los neoyorquinos merecen vivir con tranquilidad en sus hogares y no vamos a tolerar que nadie los intimide para que dejen sus casas. I want to turn to questions from the media, but first just want to give you a quick update on another topic before I do. I know there's tremendous anticipation in this city regarding the visit of Pope Francis. I can't tell you how much it means to me personally and my family. We are so deeply looking forward to this moment. And New York City is going to be so proud to have the Pope come here and share his message and his vision with us. It's obviously going to be a historic moment for New York City, and I can safely say he is one of the most respected and revered leaders in the world today, and I think he is the conscience of this world right now. I think he is the person who's speaking most clearly on the issues that challenge us: poverty and income inequality and climate change. The Pope's voice is uncompromising and clear and showing a way forward for this entire earth. So many New Yorkers share my enthusiasm, my passion, and the sense that this will be a tremendously important moment for all of us. We want to make sure as many people as possible have a chance to see His Holiness. Obviously, it's a complicated logistical situation, but we have made the decision to do something I think has not been done before, and we're very excited about it. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see His Holiness in Central Park with the procession through Central Park that will give us the maximum opportunity for New Yorkers to have a moment seeing him as he passes by. We will put tickets online starting tomorrow through Monday, September 7th. So starting tomorrow, tickets will be available online for His Holiness's procession through Central Park, and tickets will be available through Monday, September 7th. They'll be available for New York State residents, and any individual can request 2 tickets. They can sign up at nyc.gov/papal visit or call 311 to request tickets. Winners will be randomly selected and notified by September 10th. That is an update for you on this visit. And now happy to take questions first on either the visit or anything we covered here today with the bills, and then we'll go to other topics. Any questions either on the legislation today or the papal visit? Jonathan.
On the papal visit, is there an estimation as to the security cost the city will pay for the time that he's here in the city?
We don't have that yet, but we will have that. Obviously, we're working very closely with the Secret Service because, given the Pope's status, the Secret Service is leading the security efforts. So there will be a substantial effort by the federal government as well, but we'll be able to give you more of a picture of that as we get closer.
Do you know when during his itinerary you'll be able to see him?
I suspect several times, and we're still working on the details, but I look forward to spending as much time as possible with him and hearing his message. I had the tremendous honor of being in Rome at the Vatican with mayors from around the world a few weeks back, particularly focused hearing him talk about the climate change issue. It was inspiring to all of us, so I look forward to spending time with him. Yes?
Why is only Councilman Espinal here today?
I think because it's the end of summer. Would you agree, Councilman? That might be a factor in this. Other questions on either the bills or the papal visit? Then we will go, yes?
How are you going to verify that somebody is a New York State resident online?
I think there's lots of technological ability to guarantee what we're doing, and I'm sure the folks who are putting it together have a way of doing that, but I don't know the specific approach. We'll get that to you. On topic? Okay, anything off topic? Mara.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, yesterday Commissioner Bratton was asked on Morning Joe whether he thought that disintegration of values was in part responsible for crime in cities across the country. And the commissioner said, citing a 1965 report called the Monahan Report, said that he called it prescient about what was going to happen in black society in terms of the disintegration of family. Do you agree with him?
Everyone in this room knows I have immense respect for the commissioner, and we have a very strong shared vision for what we're doing here. I happen to disagree on this matter. In the back.
Do you plan on making endorsement in the city council race for Mark Weprin's?
Say again, please?
Do you plan on making an endorsement in the race for Mark Weprin's seat in Eastern?
I haven't really looked at it. I don't have a plan at this moment.
Melissa Mark-Viverito announced today that she's going to be endorsing Hillary Clinton. Did you discuss that with her before she made the announcement? And if so, could you tell us a bit about how that went?
No, I did not speak to her about it. And look, my view of the situation, as I've said, I think Secretary Clinton is offering a more and more powerful vision for addressing the issues that I'm particularly focused on, and I give her a lot of credit for that. I still think there's some issues that we have to hear a little more on, but I think with each passing day, she's put forward a stronger and clearer vision, and I think it's something that a lot of people find very compelling.
I just want to follow up on the question about Commissioner Bratton. Can you explain exactly what you disagree with and what your own view is on the matter?
Well, that report is literally half a century old, and I think society has changed a lot. I think there are some assumptions in that report that just don't hold today. So, from my point of view, we need to look at what's happening now and address how to strengthen our society. Obviously, I believe one of the ways to do that is to address income inequality. So I just think it's a report from another time. Jonathan?
Following up on the question over here with the endorsement, do you have is there still plans for the forum you had suggested?
Yes.
Could you give us any details on that?
It's being put together. I'm very excited about it because, look, what we're seeing more and more all over this country is a deepening discussion of what's wrong. And you see it actually more and more across the spectrum. Even Republican candidates now are starting to talk about the minimum wage, are starting to talk about the need to close the carried interest loophole. Something very big is happening this year in America. And we need to focus this discussion further. We've all gotten a little too used to Washington being deadlocked and paralyzed. And so when we look at the fact that over the last quarter century, Most Americans have not moved forward economically. In fact, their real wages and benefits have declined over the last quarter century. That's the kind of thing that should be a core national concern and must be addressed. So I'm excited about this forum because it's going to be an opportunity for any and all candidates who want to talk about real solutions to income inequality to come forward and put their ideas on the table and talk about the thing that actually is on the minds of more and more Americans. Part of why the candidates are talking about it, it's a little chicken and egg. I've referred many times to the CBS New York Times poll 2 months ago that showed this was an overwhelming concern across the country and that people were desperately concerned about growing inequality. So I'm excited at the notion of actually getting candidates to talk about solutions from both sides of the aisle.
Have you reached out to any of the candidates or got any commitments that they'll attend?
We have to nail down the final logistical details. Then certainly, there'll be an effort to reach out to, again, a bipartisan group of candidates. Jonathan. Not Jonathan, I'm sorry. Matthew.
Are you willing to definitively say whether or not Lillian Barrios' paoli was pushed out?
I've said it on the radio yesterday. She and I talked. She made a decision. She has devoted literally a lifetime to public service. And she made a decision to go in a different direction, but I'm thrilled to say she's continuing to serve this administration upcoming as chair of the HHC board. This is someone who has been exemplary in public service, who's given her all. And as I said yesterday, a lot of the credit for some of the changes we've been able to make, the 15,000 people who were in shelter and got to apartments and got out of shelter, a lot of that credit goes to Lillian.
Had she spoken to you about wanting to leave the administration?
We've spoken over months about what her vision is was for the future, and we talked again, and this was the decision she made, and I respect it.
Was it a surprise to you?
Again, I just said it very clearly. We've spoken over months, and she made a decision. I respect it. Thank you.